Hey guys, today we're talking about adding fractions and mixed numbers. Make sure that you write down the title, so go ahead and pause and write that down. Let's first talk about fractions with like denominators. So these denominators tell you how big the pieces that you have, and the top in the numerator tells you how many you have. So together I have 5/9 and 2/9. So I have altogether ninths, but I have 5 plus 2, which is 7/9. That's in simplest form, so I'm done, and I bubble it in. Over here, we have 3/5 and 1/5. Since they have the same denominator, we just keep the 5, and then we add the 3 and the 1, and we get 4/5. And since that's already simplified, I bubble it in. But what do I do if they're unlike denominators? I have to use my GCF, or greatest common multiple. For example, 3, 6, 9, 12. I could stop there because I know that 6 is a common multiple. Just kidding, this is the least common multiple. I think I said greatest. So we know that the least common multiple is 6. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this 1/3 into 1/6 instead. Now, how do we do that? Well, we're going to multiply the 1 by 2 and the 3 by 2 because 3 times 2 gives me 6. So I have to multiply anything on the top with the same number as what I multiplied on the bottom. So that's where I get 2/6. Now to that, I'm going to add the original 1/6. So how many do I have on top? 3, and the size of them are 6ths. Now this can be simplified. So I'm going to simplify by dividing by 3, and I get 1/2. And I bubble that in. Let's look now at number 2. We have 1/3 and 2/17. So let's find the least common multiples up here of 3 and 17. Okay, let's start with 17. It goes 17, and does 3 go into 17? No. What about, let's double that, 34. Does 3 go into 34? No, the closest thing it goes into is 33. But what about 51? Yes, 3 goes into 51 17 times. So we can use 51 as our least common multiple. If we wrote out all the 3's, 51 would be the first one that they have in common. So I'm going to make both of these denominators 51. So 3 times 17 gives me 51, so 1 times 17 gives me 17. 17 times 3 gives me 51, so 2 times 3 gives me 6. So now I have the same size of pieces. I can add my 17 and my 6, and I get 23. Bubble it in and you're done. Okay, now's your chance to try these. Try this. 3/4 plus 1/16. See if you can figure out what their common denominator is and then add them. I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, so you should have paused the video. 3/4 becomes 16 as the denominator, and 4 times 4 gives you 16, so 3 times 4 gives you 12. So 12/16 plus 1/16 is 13/16. And that's simplified, so make sure you've checked it with a red pen. Okay, let's look at another one. What if I have mixed fractions, mixed numbers? I have whole numbers and I have fractions. So the first step is to add your whole numbers. 7 plus 10 is 17. Now worry about the fractions. I have 4/9 and 2/9, so I have 6/9. Is that simplified? No. 6 and 9 are both divisible by 3, so I get 17 and 2/3. Down here, I have 8 and 2, which is 10, and then 5/6 and 1/3. Uh-oh, these do not have the same denominator. I can tell right away that the 3 and the 6 share a 6 in common because 3 goes into 6. So 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 2 is 6, so I have 2 sixths if I have a third. When I add these together, I get 7 sixths. That's an improper fraction. So how many times does 6 go into 7? 1 whole time with 1 sixth left over. Now don't forget about your 10. These two have to be added together and we get 11 and 1 sixth. Okay, now here's your chance to pause the video and try these two. When I come back, I'm going to show you what I did, so make sure you have your red pen handy. Okay, so first step, add your whole numbers. 6 plus 2 is 8. Then add your fractions, 1/8 and 5/8. I have eighths, and 1 plus 5 is 6. Is this simplified? The answer is no. So I have 8, and then 6 and 8 both share a 2 in common. So we get 3/4. Over here, they have a 5 as my whole number and a 2, so we have 7. But we have 1/5 and 3/10. 1/5 can be written as a tenth, so that makes our life easy, because 5 times 2 gives me 10, and 1 times 2 gives me 2/10. Add that to the 3/10, and we get 5/10. But we have to simplify that. They're both divisible by 5, so we get 7 and 1/2. Okay, last page. Let's try some of these. If Juliana and Brody hiked both the trails listed in the table, how far did they hike? So what do they want to know? The total length. So we need to add these two together. So we need to change the 2/3 into sixths, which we get 4/6 by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by 2. Add our whole numbers and we get 5. 4 plus 5 is 9, so we have 9/6. But this is an improper fraction. It's actually like having 6/6 and 3/6. 6/6 is a whole, so we actually have this 5 plus 1, which is 6 total, and 3/6. 3/6 can be simplified. These are a lot of steps. So we get 6 and 1/2. Go ahead and try these two, and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, grab your red pen. You should have paused it. Let's add all the whole numbers. 6 plus 1 is 7, plus 5 is 12. You can do this one in two ways. You can change the 1/3 and the 2/3 into ninths and see right off the bat that this equals 1, or you can add your 1/3 and the 2/3 first and say, okay, 1/3 and 2/3 makes 1. So either way, I have a whole here. So I have 13 and 5/9. On number 3, 8 and 11 make 19. And then 5/12 plus 1/4, well, the 1/4 can become 12ths by multiplying by 3. So we get 3/12. 5 plus 3 is 8, so we have 8/12, but both are divisible by 4. So we get 19 and 2/3. And that's all I have for you today. I'll see you next time.